Pamela won't lie. I thought you were bringing incense.
A pleasant good evening to you, and welcome to the 91st edition of The Other Side of the Ball, with our very colorful backgrounds, and in Chris Vere's case, the almighty ocean from the islands, stogie in hand. I'm your host, Double A, joined by the panel. We got Live with 2-5, we got Chris Vera, and special guest joining us today on this early evening is the man that puts all this together, Mr. Derek Duncan. Gentlemen, how art thou Wednesday in the month of June before July hits us next week?
Well, Dub, on my end, you asked the question and then your internet jumped forward like 3 seconds, so I didn't catch the question. It looks like you're frozen again, so I'm good. How you
Basically,
doing,
I
Max?
was just saying how we...
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let me just say we got both Dub and Chris rocking with Caribbean Wi-Fi.
Gotta love the internet
right now. So I'm glad I can be on and be actually live with 2-5, but he just jumped up and went somewhere. So, oh, there he is. He's right here. Okay. Hey, Knox, your mic is off or it's backed away, so it's not coming through your headphones.
Yeah, because when I left, I took my headphones with me.
Gotta do it.
What's going on, though? How's everybody?
Oh, man, I'm good. I'm good. Just great short day of football for us last weekend. And Dub changed his name as well. Technology, you can suck it. Looks like he's moving at a rapid pace. So whatever he's doing now looks like it was a lot
right.
missing. And the earpiece just went in. And welcome back to the show, Double A, Anthony Alvarez. How are you this evening?
I'm pissed off because what is the use of having two laptops, and I have to get on my goddamn phone to look like I'm fucking normal? I'm just.
Dub, you got a long way to go before you look like you're fucking normal.
Well, I am a Blaxican that can't tan, so there's the first part of it right there, folks. But nonetheless, yes, as Derek mentioned, the Final Four is officially set in the A7FL. We have plenty of time to dissect both games, which we'll do a little bit of today, and then next week's show will be full-fledged, full throttle, previewing the conference championship games as the four that remain. Some would say that they expected these four teams to be there, but nonetheless, it is the BIC and the U representing the East Side, and out here at West, it is the Insomniacs and Sick With It, as most people expect. But before we get into that, let's say hello to our viewers. Good evening, Travis. How are you, sir? Thank you for chiming in, as always. And, of course, my co-host of the Muslim Dub Show, good evening. Mr. Marcellus Bridges, good evening. And hello from MIA, Mr. Torres. How are you?
I like that he officially changed his name to Pierre. He just fell in line. Let's get it done.
You just make sure you enjoy yourself with the Viking and JP.
Right.
How about that?
He's
okay?
accepted it.
Yes. A blunder. But nevertheless, folks, guys, what is the one thing we can take from this past? And good evening, Yodi. How are you? Welcome.
Hey, Dub, real quick. Mizzle said, time to get that booster, bro. Is he saying you're short, or is there something else going on?
No, that's just Mizzle. That's just Mizzle living up to his other name that I've given him for the last 27 years. And he knows what nickname I'm talking about.
Okay, then. That's funny for the rest of us.
And Derek, this is for you. That's for you, Mr. Duncan. If you want a rebuttal, go ahead.
Well, let me just read the comment out loud like we're supposed to. Brother said, Derek hates the East Coast. And brother, you're absolutely wrong. I'm from the East Coast. Boston born and bred. And I love my haters. They keep trying to stay relevant by going through me, and I'm gonna let that happen and just bring a shine on what we got going on here in Vegas.
Well, my question before all these comments came on here, my question was, what's the one thing we can take away from this past weekend from all three games that we saw?
Well, from my perspective,
The Nightcrawlers got the shaft.
the Nightcrawlers showed up as the Daywalkers.
Hello, Coach Gray. How are you?
And zombied through that game with 8 guys and a coach. I feel very bad for them that they had to play the game like that. Mother Nature wasn't their friend. They couldn't show up with a full squad. The guys that did show up were all heart and gave it all they could, but they were definitely no match to a fully stacked U team playing in their own backyard when they should have had to travel.
Well, Derek, Travis would like to say that the Nightcrawlers appreciate you. So there you have it. So there is some Eastern time zone love for one Derek Duncan.
Man, thank you, Travis. I appreciate everybody. I'm gonna be frank. Even the dudes on the U that are trying to throw heat but duck and smoke at the same time. Look, it's all good. Y'all keep up the noise, keep up the chatter. Maybe some folks might actually want to see what we're doing out here and get a few more viewers. Maybe somebody from the East Coast, I don't know, might promote y'all games or something, so somebody might actually watch them a little more than what they do. That'd be great. Instead of just chattering in your own private chats, maybe take that stuff public and get the word out about how good A7FL is, at least how good it is, especially in these playoffs.
Hi, Mr. Blaze.
But, yeah, so, that was easy work for the U playing a 9-man team. The better game that I think we all want to talk about is how amazing the Animals looked against BIC. And, man, almost make them look not pedestrian, but made them look – no, pedestrian is the wrong thing.
Well, one thing's for sure.
Made them look human.
The internet down here is definitely not fast enough.
So, brother just said Nightcrawlers traveled light adult pop war was more important than A7FL. Big Gabe Ruiz.
Look, that's brother talking on some stuff he has no idea about, just like everybody else that chirps in these chats and chirps on the groups. They traveled light because their flights got canceled, man. There was weather out of Tampa. They were on a United flight that got canceled, and the next flight wouldn't get them there till the following night when it was too late to play the game.
All right.
Can we send brother the link? I'm curious.
Yeah, I would love for brother to come on the show and actually talk to somebody. Like all these dudes that are talking hate, we should get them on the show and let them speak their mind and see what's up.
Well, that's really going to turn it. That's going to turn into Stephen A. versus Mad Dog.
I don't have to sit in the comments all, what I'm saying, all show. We're always open and welcome to, the conversation. And plus we would like to, put names with faces and do all that good stuff.
Yeah, and I don't know what your capabilities are through StreamYard, but if you can mute people and let only people talk when they have the floor, we can control the conversation and make it work well. And my wife and baby just got home, so I need to step away for a minute. I'm going to sign off and be right back.
All right. Well, I think we're going to get Chris back in here. He's going to try to chime back in here, and we're going to add him to the stage.
I'm going to try one more time.
Welcome back. Big Gabe Ruiz, who just relocated to Texas, talking about if y'all
All right, fellas, I'm going to try this one more time, but
Well, Gabe, while you're out there, try to promote it yourself while you're out there since you have experience playing in the league.
Huh?
No, Big Gabe was talking about if y'all can get somebody to do a Texas league in the Austin area, let me know. Since Big Gabe is relocated out there to deep in the heart of Texas. And Pierre says, number one, Miami is very human. I forgot I did the Pierre thing, and then I signed into YouTube on my Xbox, and it's a fun surprise. Yes, Mizzle, David Tinder was outstanding in that game against the BIC. Man made some fantastic plays. And yes, Big Quanti was outstanding for the Animals as well, as they had a hard time tackling him. He is a beast for sure. Pierre says again that the weather down here has been crazy. Big Gabe just said that he will be back with 6 soon enough, but had to get started with work first. And yelling, yes, football is the important thing. Brother says, it's a Vegas bias podcast. I'm here to be entertained.
Well, we appreciate you for tuning in every week for our biasness.
All right. Yelling just said that Quanny Morgan had 500 all-purpose yards. And then he said Tinder and Sterry Condrington had over 700 yards. And I do agree. The fact that the game was decided on those 2 picks, one in the red zone and then the other one on a tip ball, that definitely turned the tide because we could be talking about the Animals possibly playing the U and not the BIC because it was a 80-68 final score, which broke a record. The current record was 130 combined total points, which, of course, 2-5 Live was a part of when Sick would have put up 92 against OTT's 38 back last season, which now obviously the new record has been set by the Animals and BIC with the 80-68 score.
I mean, we can all agree to the score being
Hey, fellas.
set by the Animals and BIC with this past game is definitely more of an honorable mention than the Sick Woody versus OTT game. Just because of the back and forth that both teams had, as well as the styles and the gameplay and just big play after big play from both teams. I feel like they definitely deserve and get that honorable mention, you know what I'm saying, before Sick and OTT.
But before we get that, Big Gabe just said a lot of the guys I work with know people who play semi-pro in Dallas and I believe San Antonio. New to Austin, but not to Texas. I appreciate y'all and truly do miss y'all there. Well, good health and prosperity out there to you, Big Gabe, up there in Texas. From young Animals, depth on defense, and those guys got tired on offense. BIC was minus 14 before the offense hit the field. The tip pick was crazy, supposed to be a touchdown, and the receiver was open in the end zone. He was. Yelling again is what exactly a hard comparison, Yelling? Please chime in the comments and what the comparison you're trying to make comparisons to. Right now, it's myself. Go ahead, 25. All right. Chris was trying to say something as Chris is on his fun assignment joining us from the islands, but I think his connection got lost. Maybe Scott the Viking McCorkle might join us. We don't know. But nevertheless, the Patterson U defeated the Tampa Nightcrawlers by a final score of 50-13. Chris is in the chat. Hi, Chris. And of course, the Animals and BIC would turn out to be an 80-68 final score. Oh, saying that the Animals and BIC is an honorable mention to the Sick OTT game. Oh, okay. Well, nevertheless, the Final Four has been set, and on July 7th, the Patterson U and BIC will hook them up one more time, and Sickwood and the Insomniacs will hook it up one more time to see who exactly will be the final 2 that will meet in Asbury Park, New Jersey on July 21st for the A7FL National Championship to the 10th anniversary season, which again, tickets are on sale right now. You can go to a7fl.com and look up tickets for the championship game. And A.O. Burton says, it's more BS happening. Just wait. Interesting. We'll see what happens. That interesting comment there. Glad you're with us watching or listening wherever podcasts can be watched or listened to. So glad you're with us here on the 91st edition of The Other Side of the Ball. I am Double A. I'm with Live with 25. We know Chris is somewhere in the chat and somewhere in the Bifrost is Scott McCorkle, but we'll see. 14th, Travis. As far as I know, it is the Conference Championship on the 7th and the championship game on the 21st. Brother says that BIC and Insomniacs will be the championship game. That very well could be. And 2-5 Missile says, "What's up?"
Mizzle, what's good, man? What's going on?
And once again, Yelling just concluded what I was saying, that I was correct. On the 7th, championship on the 21st. And Mr. Burton says he's got something on July 14th. Just watch. Okay, we'll be watching.
Can we get could it be a better celebration than Munchies?
14th, so it might be a show or something. We don't know, but he says to stay tuned. Mr. Hornbeak, how you doing? Welcome. Thank you to all the guests chiming in here on the other side of the ball. It's right now. It's just myself and 2-5. You can see us visually. Chris is in the chat, and our special guest Derek is playing Dad. So again, just to recap what happened on these last playoff games, we saw the Patterson U, despite the fact that Huff did get injured. Hopefully, Huff's injury is not going to keep him out of this game. Okay, so Mr. Burton says, for those watching and listening, A7FL don't ever fail with more BS, bro. You're going to be shocked. Watch. All right. Travis just said, nothing set in stone. A.O. Burton. Bino, what's up? Thank you for chiming in. Of course, Bino, part of the Wolfpack, as the champions will again face Sigrid en route to see who goes to the national title game on July the 21st. But again, Patterson, you got the win over a depleted Nightcrawlers team that had unfortunate flight complications and issues. By the final score of 50-13, the Animals and BIC played back and forth, but BIC at the end gets by with a 12-point victory, 80-68. From the Mizzle and Dub Show, what's up, Chris? Hope you're enjoying your time and looking forward to our adventure that's coming. And an interesting question by A.O. Burden. What Final Four would you rather see? Well, Mr. Burden, and he wants us to be honest. Well, to be honest, if the original format would have stayed the way it was originally intended, you would have gotten BIC against the Insomniacs, and you would have got the U against Sigrid. I think a lot of contingents, and I think a lot of people were wanting to see that, but because of situations beyond our control, it got flipped. But if it was, well, it wasn't the original format change, but the format that we were given, which wasn't set in stone, well, technically, brother, Vegas versus Jersey will happen. It'll happen in the national championship game. So, it will happen. Well, if the Crawlers had their full squad, Travis, I definitely think it could have been possibly a different story. There's no question about that. We know what the Nightcrawlers are when they have who they have. And unfortunately, because of situations beyond your guys' control, that happened. Mr. Burton says the league would have made so much money if they pay-per-view that. Shaking my head, we missed out. Interesting. Well, Burton, if you were putting this on pay-per-view, how much would you charge the viewers to watch on pay-per-view? I guess that'll be the very interesting question. The A7FL on pay-per-view. Very fair. That's fair. $10 to...
Man, we can't even cuss on the sidelines or do none of that. So pay-per-view is the last. Can't even. You're not able to get the full love for the game that you would want to get for a pay-per-view.
Bino, that's a very good question. I don't know if there is or is not, but that would be a fun thing to do in a neutral site. According to Burton, he says when you come to Jersey, you can curse all day laughing out loud. All right. Very, very interesting. Appreciate the comments from our viewers. Appreciate you guys watching. As you were watching the 91st edition of The Other Side of the Ball, yes, eventually there is a topic. We're getting to it, but it might just be me and 2-5 talking about that topic. So give us a minute, folks. But we will say we are working on some things. We will eventually be back in studio, so you won't be seeing us at our disclosed locations. So we are working on that. That's coming up real soon. So we are very excited about that. So just check us out for it. But right now I'm reaching out. Hold on, folks. Live TV. Anything can happen. But nonetheless, 2-5. What was your thoughts on the two games you saw back east?
There were some fire games. Starting with the U and the Nightcrawlers, I feel like if the Nightcrawlers would have been able to have, of course, like everybody's been saying, their full squad, just be able to be there, I feel like it would have been more of a competitive game than what it was, given the fact of what the matchup that was, well promoted before leading up to the game for it to not be able to be seen. I think that was, disappointing for the fans. So overall, they did what they could. You know what I'm saying? They had DRC out there doing different shit. You know what I'm saying? A lot of those guys was out there running both ways, but you had a full team in the U that showed up with everybody. They was fucking ready. You know what I'm saying? Again, it was good for football. But of course, the game to watch and the game, at least the game of the year for me, was Animals versus BIC. You had top players from both teams out there doing.
You said it was unfortunate, which it was unfortunate.
Of course, But like you said, you guys could have left and did whatever. But instead, you guys still decided to finish the game out, which I hope, while everybody is mentioning the loss, they also give you guys the credit that you guys deserve, even just for being able to make it happen. But yeah, no, it was definitely a good first quarter, Travis. Like I said, running both ways. I'm not too sure what the weather was like out there, nor, what people are used to. You know what I'm saying? Again, it was just like, yeah, running both ways alone in its own. At one point in time, I feel like y'all had like a fucking trainer or somebody run and just hop on the squad. I think he just randomly popped up with a white t-shirt and some shorts. You know what I'm saying? And almost got him a 3-on-1 return, if you ask me. He got hit by that good old turf monster.
Turns that Connie Morgan had. Good grief. 11. And most of them, it felt like most of them was in plus territory. That's all I can say. 11. But, I mean, they definitely indeed pulled away in the second half. Brother, no one said it's the U's fault that flights got canceled. No one's blaming the U. I do agree that Florida should host a playoff game, but
Nobody said it was the U's fault. You know what I mean? Again, we all said it was unfortunate.
there was a lot of talent on offenses. And yes, He played for my beloved 49ers the last time DeJuan Harris played in the league of the National Football League. And that's what I expect to happen. For sure, for sure. What was your take? Well, I mean, obviously, we both expected what happened to happen this past Sunday in Vegas. But nevertheless, Sick with a pitches a shutout against OTT, and now once again it will be the Insomniacs and Sick to represent the West to see who will indeed make the. I personally believe the Animals are the third best team in the East, and if they get some defensive help in the secondary, well, Yelling, I definitely think the Animals. I agree with you. The Animals took a huge step in building for 2025. They really should be proud of the effort that they gave against a very good BIC team, which, people thought that BIC was going to run over them, given the fact that it was a 69-12 score, if I'm not mistaken, the first time they met. Obviously, David Tender did not play in that first game. Go ahead, 2-5.
That's what I was going to tell you. When Tender commented and said that he didn't play that game, but he was going to play this game, I felt like that shit meant something. You know what I mean? So to see the outcome and to see again how he was able to keep things alive, and he was doing what he was showing that he was truly missed the first meeting. You know what I mean?
You look at it like this. They put up 68 on a very good BIC team. 6 against a team that had to score 71 to beat them. So, in 2 losses in the playoffs, they scored 124 points. So they were averaging 62 points a game, or they were putting up 62 points a game in those 2 games combined against the Watchmen and against BIC. That's insane. That is insane. That's insane. And we'll definitely have more numbers on next week's show as we will really thoroughly dive into you and the BIC and, of course, the Insomniacs and Sick with it. Hopefully we will have some guests from the East to come on and talk about this matchup that is BIC and the U and what they will expect as this time. I'm not going to say it's the biggest meeting of all time between BIC and the U because they've played in championship games. So we will say it's pretty big seeing these two battle each other for a trip to get to the national championship game.
It goes along with the 10-year anniversary.
Yeah. I mean, some might say it was poetic that it happened that way. So there you have it, folks. But anyways, Sick with a pitch to shout out 46-0 against OTT. Was that something you expected Sick to do, pitching a shout out 2-5? So was it just, in your case, from your point of view, you think it was just business as usual?
Look, personally, I'm not even going to go to Sick, right? I just stopped picking OTT a long time ago, all right?
Mm-hmm.
I just stopped picking them a long time ago. It's one of those where they can look good, but when it comes down to it, the pieces that they have can, I don't know. They don't got it. So me personally, like I said before, I feel like OTT is definitely going to be having to make some different moves this coming up season because they went from being one of those top tier teams and one of those teams that we talked about and liked and loved with just who they had to now it's just like, whoa, what's going on? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So me personally, I didn't feel like they were going to be the ones to be able to slow down a team that's been on a run for quite some time and has been playing the same game and being consistent throughout this season.
All right, Travis just said this season they have been both Baltimore Stars on their roster. This year, too, should be exciting. And that's, of course, from Travis, who was on the Nightcrawlers. I mean, it definitely was a tale of two seasons, I guess you can say, for OTT, because, I mean, they came in making some roster moves, had a very deep squad, and you're thinking, could this be the year they took that next step into being into a different tier? It started off well, and then it pretty much turned into disaster. I mean, there's definitely a lot of, there was a lot of disagreement, dissension, a lot of stirring up things, not knowing who the number one guy should be at quarterback. It just turned into a lot of things. And brother just said OTT needs a real quarterback in structure. Agreed 1,000%.
I disagree because they had it. They had it in three different people. They had it in three different individuals. Each one of those guys that they had over there could have did exactly and played that role. You feel me? But it wasn't just the quarterback. It's the surrounding pieces. Quarterback.
Well, one quarterback left, went back to his original home, and he made that abundantly clear. But yes, I think you and I can both agree on that. Structure is definitely needed for sure. I think there's no question about that, without question.
That comes from the organization, though.
Ooh, that is a interesting comment, Chris. Why do you think so? Let in the comments.
Yeah, why do you think so?
Coach Mark Gray, OTT had 3 QB. Coach Mark, OTT had 3 QBs, but that was only a small part of the issue. Coach, what do you think was their biggest issue? Hello, Mr. Robertson. How are you?
Trey, what's good with you? That boy done put on some weight. Y'all see him? He over there looking real. He over there looking real heavy.
Trey looking like a middle linebacker. Looking like a middle linebacker. Look like he plays sideline to sideline as a Mike linebacker.
See him out there playing.
He just gave us a report. He just says he is at 220 right now. So Trey Robinson is beefing up, as Trey Robinson is looking to three-peat as a champion.
Uh-oh. Hey, Doug, you ain't answer our question, though.
Hello to the godson of Krypton.
Why do you say OTT loses Savion?
Very good question, Chris. Please let us know why you think that. We wish his internet on his location would cooperate with him. Stirring up some stuff, Trey. Hold on. Wait a minute. Hold on. Now you're trying to be like Big Rob and stir up some stuff. So Trey Robinson just said, fans, for those watching and listening, he said, I heard they might let Nightcrawlers back in. Now you're trying to stir up some stuff. And according to Chris just said that Save is going to college. So that's very good for the young man. That is very, very good for the young man. But nonetheless, glad you guys are with us here on the Other Side of the Ball, episode number 1. Oh, see, now Travis is adding some more to the pot. That could be the July 14th rumor. So, something that we don't know. Inquiring minds have been.
I say you got my attention. Tell us more.
Maybe that's what Mr. Burton was talking about. Very interesting. Well, I guess as they say, Yelling just said garbage. Mizzle and Dove Show says, now, didn't we mention them pushing the game back? We asked that question. Trey says his name is Bennett. He's not in it. Travis wants to know, how does Trey know everything? Yelling is throwing tomatoes as he's throwing tomatoes at Fozzie the Bear. So apparently, like I said, somebody might be stirring up the pot. We don't know. All I know is there has not been no official league news. As it stands, it is the U and BIC in the Eastern Conference title game and the Insomniacs and Sickwooded in the Western Conference title game, both taking place on July the 7th, both on A7FL.tv and Caffeine. Yes, 25.
Curious, right? So hypothetically speaking, right, if the callers are back in, how does that play out happen? What's up? What's up, Tat?
League, and I do my research.
That's what, hey, what? Trey for president. How would that
Also just said, I'm curious to know how they can pull that off since the game was played. Travis just says, yes, I care too. I'm a fan and a player. And the Pernetta brothers just said, Huff just had a daughter. Look for Huff to go off. So getting some ins.
Congratulations.
Yes, congratulations, Huff, on a baby girl.
Yes, sir.
When a child is born, you normally tend to play very well. It doesn't matter what sport you're playing in. So that's just very, very interesting. So, but nonetheless, now, unfortunately, we don't have this panel to talk about this right about now. Otherwise, there was. Hold on 1 second, folks. Okay, so Bizzle just said congrats to Huff. Trey just said. Is that your hypothetical, or is just that your hypothesis?
I like that hypothetical, see? Man, a few words, but he makes sense.
If the league announces something and there's a press conference, then we know something. But until then, as it stands right now, it is still UBIC, Insomniac, Secluded. So, again, this is live TV. Anything can happen. So, but looks like Trey says those are facts. That's what Trey says. Mizzle Dove Show likes that idea. So again, anything can happen. As we know, anything can happen in the wide world of sports. Anything.
They don't reward y'all, brother.
Brother just said rewarding losers is a trend in this league. Trey Robinson says, if it were to happen, don't quote me. Yelling is saying calamity. So, whole lot of passion going on this particular subject. That is stuff about July 14th. Again, I just do a podcast, but this is why fans are fans, and they like to chime in and comment and say stuff. So, hey. Brother just says, animals lose, night crawlers lose, both get second chances. Ms. Dove Show says, I mean, everyone gets a trophy now. Yelling just said, more conversation about stuff that won't happen than the actual tangible games. Travis said, or Pernetta just said, thanks, Ohio, for the participation trophy. The Pernetta brothers is going ham right now. Travis just said, animals got lucky, and night crawlers got unlucky, honestly. And then Travis just said, Ohio messed up the whole playoffs, honestly. Well, I mean, that's a debate.
They didn't get rewarded for being losers.
Yelling, asking the Mizzle Dub Show, so why rewarded by breaking the playoff format? Trey Robinson in responding to brother, but the feeling it will be beating everyone. Very, very interesting. Very, very interesting, folks. Very interesting. But hey, I mean, all right. Mizzle and Dubshell's response is to yelling, I can't call it. I don't know. Very good question. A lot of questions being put out there, but again, until the league says something, right now, as it stands, July 7th, BIC, Insomniacs, sick with it. So, like I said, unless the league comes out with a statement, it comes out and says something, that is what we're going with. Like I said, we will have all of next show next week to preview, dissect, go through BIC and the U. Hopefully we can have some guests on from the Northeast to preview this game and talk about what they might see and what matchups they're going to key on in this game, in addition to keying on matchups in between Sick and the Insomniacs. Yelling, and yet people want to break things for no actual purpose aside from what they want. That's a very good comment. Again, I'm just following the script and the format. Mizzle replies with the 100. Again, a lot of he says it is BS. He says it's effing BS. I think one thing is certain. We definitely can agree on the fact that it's all rigged when it doesn't go your way. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Oh, baby. Here we go. He went there. My goodness. He went there. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Oh, baby. There's a lot of passion going in right now, folks. So, that's all I can say, folks. A lot of passionate comments in here tonight on episode 91 of The Other Side of the Ball. Glad you're with us. Double A and live 2-5 here with you. Chris is chiming in on the comments as his assignment does not want to give him a very good connection. But 2-5, your early thoughts. What do you expect to see from another matchup in the rivalry? All right, well, we'll answer that question, Trey. Trey Robinson is asking me and Knox, what are your thoughts on the Final Four teams? I'll say it like this, Trey. Really, the four teams that are there, you kind of expected it. Which again, I think the Nightcrawlers would have been there too if they would have had their full squad. Truthfully speaking, I really thought it was going to be the Nightcrawlers against BIC for the East Conference title, and that's no disrespect to the U at all. I just thought the Nightcrawlers had enough speed to get by the U, but we know the U has a lot of depth and a lot of pieces they can trade in. But trying to guard that Florida speed, as you know, from first-hand experience from last year, is very, very tough to do. And Chris just said he sent some picks. But, I mean, truthfully speaking, you really can't go wrong with this Final Four. I mean, like I said, if you kind of like flipped it, and Travis just said, thanks for joining and sharing the potential rumors, if you will. So, again, here we go again with that. Again, don't get mad at me, you're 2-5. This is what the fans are commenting. Prenataverse just said, honestly, now seeing when the conference finals takes place, the league could maybe have made an exception to postpone for the Nightcrawlers. Well, no! Dadgummit. My bad, JP. That was an accident. Hold on, folks. That was an accident. My bad, JP. Okay. Oh, how do I do that? Dadgummit. Okay. Can't show them a right. Huff, injuring is going to hurt. I agree. Yelling says, that's not how life works, pal. This is not a video game. This is real life. Brother just said, move heaven and earth to accommodate the Nightcrawlers. Good grief. Oh, boy. All right. So, there we have it with that. Everyone out here yelling, thinking it costs Jeffrey dollars. Oh, good grief. Interesting. 2-5, what you got? Okay, hold on. Trey just came in and said, how do you think that you will play without Huff or 50% Huff? 2-5, you want to tackle that one?
Yeah, no, I'll say with the Final Four that's out there right now, right? With what it is. Hold on. With the Final Four that we got right now, coming out, from the East and the West, from the games that they've had throughout the season and just even these last ones, shows that all the teams really, they got something to play for. You know what I mean? They got the numbers, they got the guys. I'm gonna keep it real. When I looked across, when I watched them guys out there, them boys is kind of big. You know what I'm saying? So it's like Vegas gonna have to size up. They're gonna have to hit the gym. They're gonna have to do something because East Coast boys are kind of solid out there. But overall, what up? What you got?
Well, coming to the stage, folks, and giving us his insight on what he saw this past Sunday and how the Animals can build on 2025. You know him, you love him. He always loves to stir stuff up. He's on the national broadcast with Rob and Corey and a multi-time A7FL champion. The one, the only, Big Rob Fabian in the building. Thank you, sir, for coming on with us and talking some ball with us, Big Rob. Appreciate it, brother. And just like that, he just got kicked out. Oh, baby. Oh, baby. Oh, baby. Oh, baby. So Travis just said, yeah, no disrespect. They are a good experience in Spartan Squad, but they wouldn't be able to handle Bagway. Trey just says, Rob is my favorite on the 3-on-1.
Him and Matt.
Hey, I didn't kick him out. That's technology being technology. All right, we're going to try this again, folks. Because technology just likes to be a big pain in the ass. But once again, ladies and gentlemen, from the national broadcast, multi-time A7FL champion, like I said, one to never be at a loss for words. The one, the only Big Rob Fabian. Big Rob, brother, we appreciate the time. How are you, my guy?
Got you, man. I'm good. It was my fault, bro. I thought I had my headset plugged in, and then while you was giving me the intro, like I could read your lips, and I'm like, dang, he's introing me, but the headphones, they not. I was like, all right, damn, all right. What's good with you guys, man?
Just give us your thoughts on what you saw. We know what we saw with the U and the Nightcrawlers, how the Nightcrawlers were not the Nightcrawlers. But what do you think that game would have been if all of the Nightcrawler squad would have shown up? What would have been your thoughts on? Do you think the score would have been different?
The score would have been different. We would have just had a more competitive game. It would have just been better for TV. It would have been more fun for us watching. It would have been more fun for the players in general. So we were all robbed of a great game for, due to circumstances. Like, I don't know details, so I'm not here to push any narrative or whatever. We were just robbed of the game we should have had. So, it is what it is. The U won, and that's what they plan to do anyway. And, we just move forward from there with that game.
All right. Very well said. So, with the performance that David Tinder and Kwani Morgan had against the BIC and what the Animals putting up 68 on a very good BIC team, how can the Animals, even though it will count as a loss. But how do they take that performance and build that into 2025?
So just to put into perspective for people like that probably weren't paying attention to the Animals, they've played at that level against the best three teams in the East Coast, in the Northeast. They played that way against the U, where, we thought it might have been a fluke. We thought, hey, and that was one of David Tender's first games. We thought, maybe the U was sleeping on them. Maybe this was okay. You did it once. It can't happen again. They played the Watchmen in the playoffs, and then it happened again. And then it's like, maybe the Watchmen weren't, maybe the Watchmen were sleeping. A couple of guys were missing, and then they played BIC, and then it happens again. So at this point, that's just their DNA to be able to score as much as they scored. And you can see as the season progressed, these guys, that unit got better. David Tender is the future of the Northeast, 100%. It's going to be very hard to debate him not being Rookie of the Year. He's probably everyone's favorite player. It's very weird that unanimously, like a whole coast, likes one guy. You know what I'm saying? Even going against him, you have to just respect his tenacity, the way he handles the game, the way he reads the plays, how simple his plays are, but he goes through his progressions, he goes through his reads, he takes what the defense gives him, which is what you want from a quarterback anyway. Kwani surprised me because we knew he was good, but I just didn't know he was like that good. He's fast, he's strong, and he did his job. He didn't do anything like off the wall amazing. Like Kwani wasn't jumping over people and trucking people, and he just did his job. He was where he needed to be when his quarterback needed him to be there. So like a player like that, like it's second to none. Then you got Manny Diaz. He has a bright future in this league. And last but not least, I think the other young man's name was Rico, who was probably, if I'm not mistaken, David Tender's like, go-to receiver at times. That team in general, they need to stick together, number one. That's the first thing.
Go ahead.
Oh, got kind of loud.
Hold on. Go ahead.
All right, there we go. Damn, Dub. But those guys need to stick together. They need to add on at least one solid lineman, one solid tight end, the defense needs the biggest boost. Overall, like that team, that defense needs the biggest boost because that offense can score. Like we can see that. That offense could definitely score. They have the playmakers. David Tender could extend a play that looks like it's gone. Because it's not like BIC wasn't rushing. It's not like the corners weren't covering. BIC was doing their jobs. It's just David Tender had an effect on the game that I don't think anyone was anticipating. So that all those guys need to do for real is stick together, bring in a little bit more, a little bit more of that unknown talent that's not scared of the big names, and they'll have a successful run in this league.
Now, we do got some questions for you, Big Rob. Hold on. From the Missile and Dub Show, question is, Rob, do you think the Animals or do you think the Animals, do you think if the Animals, I don't know if he's trying to say should the D, or sure up the D is what I think is what he's trying to say. Sure up the defense, will they return next season? I think that's what he's trying to ask.
Yeah, if that's what he's trying to ask, I definitely think the Animals need to add a couple of pieces to their defense and 100% come back next season. In each of the 3 games I spoke to you about, if their defense was able to get at least 2 stops, the game is completely different. And I'm not talking about already when, let's say BIC goes 4 and out or 3 and out or whatever they go, that's part of the game. But I'm talking about 2 turnovers like a fumble or interception, it changes the narrative of the game, and that goes for anyone they would have won against. So I think they should definitely come back. I'm a huge fan of the Animals coming back with that core and just adding a couple more solid pieces.
Okay, so another question is, this is from Trey Robertson. He says the Animals will be nice next season from what I've been told. They've recruited. Brother says the Animals' defense is horrible. Trey again says they definitely need to get the defense up.
Tracks.
JP, I'm sorry. And then he's saying he's asking if David Tender will return to the Animals next year.
If I knew that he wasn't returning to the Animals next year, I wouldn't be able to tell you that. I'm not saying I know or I don't. But
to answer this, Yelling just said Tender says he's bringing more with him.
Yeah, but I want everybody to know that what happens at the very end of the A7 season, don't ever take it too serious. Like nothing that's being said right now, when the game is fresh in everybody's mind and, this might happen, don't take any of it serious because it's a long off season. It's a lot of flag games. It's a lot of friendships and connections being made. You never know. You never know what could happen. And I'm saying it could be the reverse too. David Tender might be grabbing players from other teams. We don't know. So we'll see what happens. I'm excited though. I'm looking forward to it. I would hope he comes back with a couple of new players to really shake things up in the Northeast.
Well, Yelling just said there's an untapped market in Philly.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And then Tindo and Rios are the big.
Yelling is 100% correct. Philly, we used to have a PA division, and those guys gave me nightmares. So, I couldn't stand those guys. I'm gonna be honest with you, because the weirdest losses I've taken in this league came from playing against those guys. Like at one point, I lost a game in the height of my career. I lost a game to those guys like 40-6 or something like that. And I don't lose like that's not something we lose like that. Yeah, and Trey Robinson was part of that, PA. And I say PA, I don't necessarily say Philly. Philly has a completely different market than PA. But again, that's up to those guys to, bring PA back. And that is a very big untapped market. That's interesting. I think that would do well for the Northeast. Yeah, the Silk Cities, definitely pretty remarkable. I was impressed.
So a question from Yelling. If you were looking to see anything coming out of the Final Four between BIC and you, what would it be?
A good game, which I know they'll give. I'm hoping Huff is healthy to give us the game we're looking for. BIC, BIC is not going to lay down. They still look like the premier team. They still haven't lost. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, and I did mention to someone, because I'm not going to sugarcoat what my picks are for the Final Four. I have a BIC versus the Insomniacs championship. I know people are like, oh my God, how do you just pick those two? It's like, guys, it's only 4 teams. I don't have that many options, right? So you just got to pick who you think might win. I just think BIC edges the U out by a little bit because Huff's been hurt this season. And even when they're able to replace Huff and they put Moon in, they're still productive, but the scoring in bunches, like if BIC is able to put up 45 and the U only puts up 40, you know what I'm saying? It's not like the U can't score, but those extra points and things of that nature would be the difference maker, just like the championship. Same with the Sick With It and the Insomniacs. I have a different take on that. Sick With It, to me, is they're equipped and ready to take on the Insomniacs. They will be able to play at a high level and compete with anyone. But when it comes to the Insomniacs, there's a boost. There's like a we got to get them boost. Like, yo, I'm tired of these dudes beating us. And you know what I'm saying? And in your mind, because, football is mental. Mentally in your mind, when playing a team gets you overstimulated, there's a chance you can beat them. Like I think Sick with it did beat them. But at the same time that they beat them, I don't know what Sick with its DNA is. I'm not there. I'm not in Vegas. I don't watch every single game they play. I don't know their DNA to know that might not have been their Super Bowl. And if they blew their load and that was their Super Bowl against the Insomniacs the first time, history tells you that they'll lose the second time. And if they did happen to, because it's very possible that they can beat the Insomniacs. They did it once, they could do it again. If they do beat the Insomniacs, in their mind, it's like, yo, we finally beat Big Brother. And then they run into a BIC team that they're not familiar with. They don't have any rapport with. These guys are running all over the field. They're bigger, they're stronger, they're this, they're that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
but
that can play.
Couldn't you say that for the Insomniacs as well? Because they haven't played BIC. They haven't played the U.
Insomniacs, and to me, the Insomniacs will always have to get the defending champ respect. I can't really, they won it. You feel me? And I know it was last year, but they won it. So I have to, I'm of the ilk that you have to give the defending champs respect until they're gone. And if they're still here, you know what I'm saying?
That.
Yeah. That's really
100%.
Yeah. That's the mindset with that. It's not really, it doesn't take anything away from Sick With It. I think Sick With It is great. Corey's been telling me how great Sick With It was from the top of the year. But I'm like, can they beat Big Brother? And they did it. So it's like, damn, Sick With It is dangerous. But can they get past Big Brother again? Big Brother lost. Like, when your little brother beat you in a game once, you kind of chuckle, be like, then you sit forward in the seat and it's like, all right, I got to get him now. You feel me? Like,
I guess the way I was going with it, even as far as within the context of the way I was asking, right? It was more or less saying because of the styles that have always been put out there about the way you guys may play different out there and how they may play different out here. You know what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying.
The two styles never really have collided and clashed. You feel me? To where
at all.
You had the night crawlers come out here. You know what I'm saying? But that even when that was a topic, it was said that wasn't the representative that, you know what I'm saying, that one would have sent for that type of matchup, for that type of game. Fact. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, it's a fact. The Nightcrawlers play a different brand of football than what the Northeast A7 guys played. For example, again, it's not the Insomniacs already won. It's not me shitting on their win. If the Insomniacs were playing a BIC or a U team that was up, like the Nightcrawlers were up in the third and fourth quarter, that BIC or U team would have ran the ball to chop the clock. It wouldn't have been the Bunak blessing that happened twice. That wouldn't have happened because they know when to run. They have the running backs for it. They have the line for it. The Nightcrawlers don't necessarily have the line for that. So to be honest, the Nightcrawlers kind of played into the Insomniacs' hand. The Insomniacs, again, are a very good second half team. They make adjustments. These guys are football players.
In a sense, they run the same. From my opinion, with them playing the Nightcrawlers, it was a format that they're used to as a team, right?
Facts.
In a sense, it was more like a physical flag game. You feel me?
Yep.
When you play a team or you look at a team like the U or BIC, now you're like, okay, now we in the trenches when it come down to this football. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, we're gonna run the ball. Like I said, and that's why I brought up the size earlier. I look at the size of them linemen. You look at guys out here who look big, but I know these guys in real life. So me, I'm kind of adding on and I'm like, nah, them boys out there is big.
Yeah, there's some big guys. Yeah.
They big, you know what I'm saying?
And it does change. It does change the dynamic of the game. And again, that's why I'm saying, I got a BIC Insomniacs championship, but I got to go Jersey all day and feel like BIC is going to win the championship. It's a Jersey thing. It's like, it's not, we don't really, I kind of stay away from the East Coast versus West Coast thing until the league decides to get a format where we can actually cross play. I'm not really here to talk about the East being better than the West or vice versa until it's time for them to play. When they actually play, I can talk about it all day. But if they don't play, it's all speculation and, guys just thinking their guy is better than the other guy. You know what I'm saying? And shit happens. It's any given Sunday, man. It's shit happens for real. So I'm not fanning the East versus West Flames because it's not something we could do. If I had it my way, this next week would be Sick With It versus the U. No, Sick With It. What would it be? Sick With It versus the U and BIC versus Insomnia. That's what I would want. And then we can really get excited. Yeah, that's what it would have been.
So Rob, there's a question. So Rob Yelling wants to know who gives out first, the U defensive line or the BICD line if Moon starts instead of Huff?
The BICD line is not amazing. They're pretty shifty. They're undersized, but they kind of make up for that in their linebackers, in their defensive backs. These guys can tackle, so they kind of make up for it. I don't know, because the U's D line, there's a lot of rotation there. They're just Sterry. Okay, Sterry's a hard guy to contain. Sterry's like impossible to contain to a degree. Like if he gets caught, I don't want to give nothing away, but Sterry's mentality, even in the game against the Animals, I know you guys noticed that Sterry didn't run much, right? Like y'all noticed that, right? I just want y'all to know that was intentional. Sterry wasn't like, it wasn't like, he doesn't see the running lane. Sterry's one of those guys that gives himself mental challenges. Like if you're playing a video game and, Madden tells you to throw 3 passing touchdowns, you're not running the ball. You're not going to run. You're going to throw 3 passing touchdowns and get your extra points. And I think Sterry works on a mechanic like that in his mind. It's like, yo, I'm that good. Watch this. And he tells himself, I'm not running the ball for a touchdown today. I'm going to throw the ball for all the touchdowns today. And, that's what he did. You know what I'm saying? So he's a very difficult guy to contain. If he decides to use all his weapons, it'll be difficult for the U's D line to deal with them. But the U also have Sly Washington over top trying to spy Sterry, which would be able to slow him down. It didn't do much last time they played, but it's a new game. Maybe they have a new game plan. But the U's defensive backs are decent enough. But I mean, a guy like Kason Campbell, who we probably don't talk about enough, he's playing out of this world this year. So the U has their handful. Like they have their hands full with BIC, and they lost the first matchup. And like I said before, historically speaking, whoever wins the first matchup between the U and BIC usually wins the second matchup. If the U was to win next time they play, this would be the first time that they split. And whoever won the first one didn't win the second one. It's just, that's history. That's not a bias. That's not, that's not me playing favorites. It's literally, you can go back the last 3-4 seasons, and whoever wins that first matchup usually wins the second one.
Hey, Rob, but look, check it out. Even I watched the first game, right?
Yeah.
And even with that game, they won. But
right.
It was just like even how this last Animals game, ended in the sense where it was kind of neck and neck, but it was 2 costly plays at the end of the game.
Right.
Really the deal for them. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, could they give us the same type of game? Or
oh no, they definitely will. And again, even based off the history, K-Wack had to remind me a couple weeks ago when I saw, I like making a joke, like, you guys all struggle with Sterry Codrington and Ashante Worthy. You guys struggle with them, and I beat them. I beat them for a championship. So I like to talk shit about that. But K-Wack was like, y'all didn't win by like a lot. And I thought about it. I'm like, yo, none of those games were decided by more than a couple of points. It's just when it's in the bag, it's in the bag. No, I don't think either team will ever blow the other team out. They're too smart for that. Like, they play the game too well for that. So neither team is going to put the other one in a position where we're seeing a 2-score lead at the very end, unless it's some garbage time stuff. But respectfully, even last year when the U was it the last year or the year before when the U lost, they lost on a play that if one thing was different, they could have scored. Like it's a very close game always. They just never split. So whoever wins that first one usually wins the second one, and it's still dramatic. It's still a tough game. It's not writing the U off. It's literally what has happened. So it would be a surprise this year if the U beat BIC the second time they play. The U would be making history in that aspect.
In the times that they've played, what can you say the record is? Like, if we just go past, what you say?
If we go from 21,
okay.
21 was the year I was on the U. They didn't split. The U won the 2 games. I think we played twice, and the U won both games. So the U was up 2-0. 22 is the year BIC won, and I think they played the U twice that year. So the record would have then been 2-2. 23, the U didn't have Huff, and somehow, some way, was still able to beat BIC twice. So it brought the record back to, 4, like it was 4-2. It was 4-2. This year, BIC won the first game to make it 4-3, and this second game, if they were to win it, it would be 4-4. You know what I'm saying? So that it sounds crazy, but they literally split like in that way. So BIC's down 1 game, and this is the game they would need to tie it back up. Because in 21 they got swept, then BIC swept them in 22, the U swept them in 23. Now BIC is up for this year, but they're down 1 game in the last since 21. Because I'm not counting 20. And the U won all the games in 20 anyway, so I'm not really counting 20. But if we counted 20, the U would be up by like 6-3 right now. If we count 20, if we don't and we're going 21, it's 4-3.
4-3.
So brother says the U are too slow for BIC and the Insomniacs if they're fully staffed, and they beat SICK by 2 scores.
Oh, shoot. If the Insomniacs are fully staffed, they beat SICK by 2 scores. I don't know who was missing the first time they played. I don't even know.
What he's saying is the U are too slow for BIC and the Insomniacs if fully staffed. And he thinks the U beats SICK by 2 scores.
Oh, wow. The U beats SICK by 2 scores. I just don't think SICK is just familiar with the play style. It's a culture shock. It'll shake things up for SICK. I would have loved to see that crossover before the championship. Unfortunately, we can't. But SICK has a tall task ahead of them, because whoever comes out of the East, whether it be the U or BIC, they're still going to give you a brand of A7 football that comes from the Mecca, and this is the game that, to me, will prove which style is going to, prevail. Because you guys seen how the East had adopted the backstack, which initially I thought was insane, but after watching that fall brawl and watching how the West Coast guys is running, I'm like, damn, this should change the game back East. And I guess they heard it, and look what happened. Now you got every team running the backstack based off of what the West did. So the West Coast came and changed the game almost immediately. You guys added an element to the game that wasn't there before. It makes it more fun. It gives defenses more of some, more weapons to deal with, because you have to deal with Huff right there and Jason Sisson, who runs a 4-2, 4-3 right behind him that can also pass the ball. It's very dangerous. So shouts to the West for, adding that. But with, again, the East, it's still, they still play a lot between the trenches. And I only think only a few teams out West can handle that. Like, you got Matt Kenny, who's a monster. That Insomniacs offensive line is still up there to me with the best of them. So And then you got a guy like, RTC, still probably arguably the best running back in the league. So it's not like the Insomniacs are lost or don't know what to do or can't deal with the BIC or the U. I just feel like they would be better equipped to deal with the Insomniacs would be better equipped to deal with BIC or the U than Sick With It would be. Sick With It has never felt anything from that side, like anything. And you got guys like, there's a couple of guys that's on the Insomniacs that were in the East and felt what it was like to play against East Coast guys. So they know. And then they'll tell their teammates and prepare them a little better than Sick With It would be able to prepare. But Sick With It is equipped to beat the Insomniacs. It's like a styles make fights. Like, that's all it is. A styles make fights. If Sick With It built their team to beat the Insomniacs, then they'll beat the Insomniacs. But it doesn't mean that they'll beat a team like BIC or the U.
Well, two things. One, welcome back, Derek Duncan, number one.
Oh, what's up, Derek?
And number two, now this is from Coach Mark Gray. He's got a question for you, Rob. And the question is, Rob, why do you think the style is different for Sick With It? I am confused.
I just haven't that's on me. Like, I haven't done my homework on Sick With It. Again, I'll take accountability on that. I'm not saying that they're bad. Far from it. I think Sick With It has done nothing this season for anyone to think that they're a bad team. I actually think they're a pretty good team. It's just understanding what each coast brings is important, because I don't know who said it. I really don't care who said it, but I heard somebody said I'm kind of like detached from like the drama part of it. I'm like, I like all you guys. It's not really a drama thing. It's real things going on in the world. There's no space for drama. But someone from the West said, BIC versus the Animals looks like backyard football. The West is the better division. I'm like, okay, cool. It's cool to feel that way. But in my head, I was like, wait a second. They broke the record for the highest scoring game. And the record before that was with a team that scored 90 something to a team that scored 30 something. And I'm like, and that was in the West. So it wasn't like a back and forth intense, oh my God, these guys. No, it was like one team was getting blown out and the other team just kept scoring. And I'm like, I don't remember anybody calling that a backyard game, even though that seemed like more of a backyard game. Like, teams are not.
That game was complete domination. I mean, it was
right.
dominating that game, and OTT having a bunch of cool runbacks to
right
make it fun and exciting. Like,
yeah, so, and that the 3-on-1 is amazing. It's an amazing play. So I'm always here for it. But it didn't. It broke that record, but it broke that record in a more competitive fashion, in my opinion, than what the original record was. So it's like, yeah, don't get me wrong, 80 to 60, 62? It still was kind of crazy. It still was like a crazy score, but
80 to 68.
80 to 68, I'm sorry. 80 to 68 was still kind of crazy, but that's like two scores. It wasn't that.
Let me ask you, you don't think that game got sloppy the last half of the third and the fourth quarter?
I think the game got sloppy. I do agree it got sloppy. The game got sloppy when
dudes was ran out. It was hot. Let's be straight.
Yeah.
Nobody wanted to tackle Tender.
No. See, if you ask BIC, they wanted to kill Tender. They thought BIC won the game. So there's no question about that. But I think in their mind they thought, okay, we keep kicking these dudes. Why won't you stay down? Because I need y'all to understand, BIC in no way, shape, or form thought they were going to lose that game. And I didn't think they would have lost it either. They were fine. It's just when you beat up the kid that for whatever reason, after each time you knock him out, he's still standing up, and it's kind of like, yo, what's wrong? Are you okay, kid? Like, what's up with you? Like, are you good in the head? And he shocks you because then he'll swing a haymaker, and you're like, oh shit, he's still running. He still wants to fight. So then you got to beat him up. Exactly. So then you got to keep beating him up, but he won't go down, and he keeps hitting you. And some of those hits are hurting, and you're like, bro, just go down.
Boxing is a perfect analogy. Like if you took a pure fighter against the puncher, that's what that game was.
Yeah.
But then towards the end, because everybody got tired, they were both exchanging haymakers. And,
right.
And the pure puncher stopped pure punching so much and kept throwing haymakers back.
And started throwing big bowls. And it's like the puncher is just like, nah, bro, I'm not going out like that.
Right.
And the boxer's like, bro, you already lost. Like, stop. But he won't stop. That's what happened. Honestly, that's really what happened.
It's like if Frazier and Foreman fought.
Yes. Yes.
Exactly that. Because at the end, Frazier like, all right, man, fuck it then.
And because then now their heads are touching. You feel me? It's like their head button. And then, but the pure boxer hits you in your he gave you a kidney shot earlier that wobbled you. He gave you a temple shot earlier that wobbled you. And all he got to do is touch those same two spots and you're out for the count. You know what I'm saying?
And that's exactly it. You nailed it, man.
That's what happened.
Boxing analogy. And
that's literally what happened in that game. The animals are tough. Like we just saw that the animals are tough. Honestly.
Yeah. They got a lot of ballers in that team. David Tender,
for
especially. I mean, after that showing, I'm looking at him like rookie of the year, right? I mean, how many games did he play? Because I only saw him like the last 3 as it started to get close, and then when we hit the playoffs.
I know he played. He didn't play the one BIC game. The first BIC game, he didn't play against them.
He didn't play at all, or he only played a little?
No, he didn't play at all. He was gone. He was not there whatsoever. They got blown out that game because no one showed up. Something else happened. I don't be knowing these teams' details. Something happened and barely anyone showed up. They got blown out, and then he was there for all the other games except maybe the first 2, and maybe the first one he was there and just didn't play quarterback.
Yeah,
and played quarterback. Yeah. And then when he came out, I felt bad for him because he came out against the U, and I'm like, dang, they put this kid out here against the U. The hell is wrong with these guys? And then he messed up the first play, picked his pants up, stood up tall, brushed his shoulders off, and went right in there and gave the U a game. So he's been impressive since day one. I
want to address Ryan Shamar in the chat because Ryan Shamar be spitting violence. Let's qualify this from Ryan Shamar. Let's be real. If BIC entire team comes, let's just stop right there. He wants to talk about what the outcome would be if somebody's entire team come in this chat, but don't want to talk about what happened during his game. Come on, dog. You
guys have y'all got so much smoke for each other.
He's showing up with the caboose and forgot about the rest of the train.
See, but Shamar's he's not wrong. BIC was missing some, I'm not saying who, huh?
Of course they were. I mean, if Valley didn't show up until like middle of the third period, and if he showed up when he did, maybe the game goes a little different.
I mean, BIC's whole, and when I say whole team, I mean whole team. I'm just not going to say any names because that's not my business to say who was missing and who wasn't. But some very crucial pieces were missing that would have completely changed how David Tender was approached. But again, they weren't there, so I can't talk about people that weren't there. But Shamar's right, of course. If that's why the Nightcrawlers game, let's say the Nightcrawlers were there fully staffed, right? It wouldn't have been an easy game. Like it really wouldn't have been. The U was fully staffed. A fully staffed U team is quite dangerous. And when I mean fully staffed, I thought there was players that weren't even playing anymore that were there. And I'm like, nah, Shamar wasn't playing because, some teams like to do the okie doke. Nightcrawlers say they weren't coming fully staffed. Then they show up with logo and bagway and trench coats and shit. Like you don't want to take that chance. And I looked on the sideline and Ryan Shamar had his monsters there. So I said, Shamar wasn't playing. So whether the Nightcrawler showed up fully staffed or not, they would have still had to play 4 quarters of football. And truth be told, no matter how fast the Nightcrawlers were or are, it sucks to say because I'm a fan of the Nightcrawlers, but it sucks to say we know them for losing. We don't really know them we know them for giving exciting games and losing. We don't know them for beating
Well, they did finish the game against the Watchmen last year. Let's not give them their shine.
No, yeah.
Let me ask you, who did you have in that game? Fully staffed. What was your
Fully staffed Nightcrawlers versus the U?
Yeah.
All right. So my scenario for this specifically changed a couple of times because Derek, things changed a couple of times.
For sure.
When I thought that the Nightcrawlers, we would get 2 from the East and 2 from the West to play in a Final Four. When I thought that was the bracket, I thought we would have a BIC versus the Nightcrawlers championship, which would imply that, the reason why I would have thought that is because BIC would have ended up having to play the U, and the Nightcrawlers would have had to play the Watchmen. And those 2 would have moved forward because BIC, in my opinion, would have beat the U, and the Nightcrawlers would have beat the Watchmen to then have to play Sick With It and the Insomniacs, which I would think, in a rematch with the Insomniacs, I would hope the Nightcrawler, this is just all in my head. I'm like, okay, the East sweeps, and then it's the BIC versus the Nightcrawlers in the championship. That's what I thought. That's what, that's where I was going. When I realized that the Watchmen were out for, whatever reason, and they weren't going to play it that way, and then it would end up having to be the U versus the Nightcrawlers. In my excitement, I was like, the Nightcrawler's going to beat the U ass. And then I stopped myself from, the excitement of it all, and I'm like, nah, the Nightcrawlers would have probably lost in the fourth quarter, like they kind of always do. And you can't, I can't give the Nightcrawlers, as amazing as they are, I've watched them. The only team they beat for real was the Watchmen in the playoffs last year. Right. Other than that, they lost to Rare Breed the year before that. They lost to the Insomniacs last second. They lost to the Rare Breed last second. So not respecting the game like we talked about on numerous times. Right. And the thing is with the U, is the U's not going to let you they're not going to beat you last second. They're going to beat you last quarter because y'all can't run the ball. They don't run the ball well. And again, we didn't get to see the Nightcrawlers fully staffed. I'm basing this off of the Nightcrawlers that I've seen. Yes, Logo would have probably had 3 touchdowns. Yes, Bagway would have probably had 3 touchdowns. But Huff would have threw 4. The U would have ran 3. And they win. You know what I'm saying? The U's not going to go up and allow you to dictate the pace of the game. They're going to dictate the pace of the game always.
Right, so could that game be like BIC versus Animals?
Very much so.
Fence with the score?
Mm-hmm. Oh no, for sure. It could have. Yeah.
Last couple.
Yeah. But Huff and the guys, like I said, Ryan Shamar is not dumb. He's not going to let these guys score in bunches and not have a safety valve. He would have forced those guys to make a mistake because they have before. We watched it in Bullhead. We watched it in Bullhead. We watched it at Rare Breed in Delaware. So it's very possible that it's in their DNA to make a mistake in a crucial time in the fourth, and you don't do that against a team like the U because once you give them that, they step on your neck and they just don't stop. They're just going to keep going.
Let me give you this. Well, first of all, I want to address Ryan Shamar's comments in the chat. He said that Derek doesn't know that the U asked to not play that game. And brother, you are absolutely right. I was shooting all kinds of heat at y'all because I thought y'all made it happen. And that's
no. So, that's for sure. They didn't do that.
So I'm giving Ryan his props because I did not know that. Thanks for bringing it to light. And guess what? I believe you when you tell me something. You should learn.
That's a fact.
You should learn how to be humble and do the same thing. So on the next side, with the Nightcrawlers versus the U, the reason that the Insomniacs beat the Nightcrawlers 100% in my mind is because Bagway had to play both ways. Right? He got beat over the top by Davik 2 or 3 times and ended up throwing off his back foot, throwing a pick, letting other people throw the ball for him and throwing another pick. And that was the turning point of the game ultimately. With DRC there potentially playing corner and Bagway maybe not going both ways against against Pat or whoever was going to be that last wideout. Do you think it's the Nightcrawlers would have had a better chance against the Insomniacs with that setup, or even against you with that setup, knowing that both of them were there?
The Nightcrawlers lost to the Insomniacs because Logo Davis concussed himself after a 5-touchdown performance. He's out. Like Bagway playing both sides, but these are Florida guys. This is what they do. So I'm not really shooting them no bail for that. But when Logo went for that one-handed interception, which was it's those two plays for me, because it's not that the refs bailed y'all out. It's not anything like that. It's just those two crucial plays could have been turnovers. The one where it looked like he caught the pick, then as he's standing up, he throws the ball out.
Right.
Insane.
Right.
Which I don't get that. That's insane. And then the one where Logo goes up like Michael freaking Jordan and one hands the ball and then comes down.
Yeah, we were losing our mind.
Right.
Had he not knocked himself out, he would have held on to the ball.
He would have held on to the ball. He might have toe tapped inside. Shit happens. So those two plays, in my opinion, are what, listen, it is what it is, because even after the two Bunak blessings, the Insomniacs were still down. Like they were down up until that RTC, hamstring touchdown run. Like they were down until that point. And then the crazy part is the Nightcrawlers still got the ball back. The best offense in the A7FL still got the ball back. But what happens is you got Logo, who's concussed, who doesn't even know where he's at, who I spoke to him after the game. He doesn't remember speaking to me. I spoke to him a couple weeks after that. He don't remember the fourth quarter. So it's like once Logo got hurt, that was it. He had 5 touchdowns, bro. You can't really that's what, to me, that sealed the deal. It's like then Insomniacs didn't give up. They had those 2 Bunak blessings, and they kept coming back, and they sealed the deal because, no, the Nightcrawlers didn't bring their corners, but hey, that's not on me. That's on them.
Sure.
No. He said they lost because BME did that idiotic pitch back that Bagway. No.
That's one of the Bunak blessings you're talking about.
That's one of the Bunak blessings, but that's not why they lost. The real turnover that killed them is Henderson. Was it Henderson? One of them, somebody caught the tight end, caught the pass,
and he tried
was running. He didn't try to pitch it back. He caught the pass, was running, got wrapped up, and his own teammate stripped the ball from him. And what's his name?
AJ recovered the fumble.
AJ recovered the fumble, and that killed them because then the Insomniacs scored again. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that's 3 turnovers that these Insomniacs scored on. Like they scored on all 3 turnovers. Because before that, Dub, remember we had this discussion.
We did.
You know what I'm saying?
We did.
The way the first half went is exactly what I told you was going to happen. It happened the exact way. But what ends up happening is you give up three turnovers that led to scores to now even the game out. So it's as if the Insomniacs scored on every possession. And then you lose Logo Davis, who scored 5 touchdowns. And now Bagway is on the red bar of his Gatorade meter. He's cooked.
He's
cooked.
Yes,
he's got a quarterback, and he throws it
he's
back
blinking
and
throws it to the wrong person.
How about shout out to Matt Ryan coming on the show with all the smoke? Like, did you see
that?
I was gonna say, fresh from his session, the voice of our league, or as I like to call him, the Jim Ross of our league, Matt Ryan. How you doing, bud?
Yeah, me and my double chin are doing well. What's up, fuckheads?
What's good, Matt?
It's more of a booty chin than it is a double chin.
But yeah, that's why I feel like the Insomniacs won. But again, that's why I do feel like the U would have edged out the game. It would have just been a better game for all of us, everyone, including the Nightcrawlers. Whether they won or lost, it would have been a better game, fully staffed. The U would have been happy with them fully staffed. The U wasn't happy. I don't want anybody to think when I went and talked.
Anybody, Rob, was happy with it.
Nobody.
At the end of the day, trains got to run on time. We got television air to fucking fill. So
yeah, they weren't happy.
Part of this, like, act of God. We are where we are.
Right.
Relitigate this shit to death, and knowing this league, we're amazing at relitigating shit. But There's 4 teams. Now we can figure it the fuck out, I hope.
Shout out to Matt Ryan now doing his best Travis Gallardo impression. Green backward hat and all. Hey, put up another track. There it is. There it is.
That's planned. But anyway, Matt, retake what Rob said. With the way the Animals perform against the BIC, how can they build that into 2025?
Defense. Like, building off of this, they need to continue to develop it. There's a lot of talk about them in getting more people involved. Like, Dan Giesling seems to be all in on helping this team develop into a brand, hopefully. Hopefully it's not wolf tickets. Hopefully it's not posturing. Dan seems to be legit about it. But when you look at David Tender and Rios, those are the 2 best resources for that team. They're the 2 best resources for the Northeast. Look at what them and Kwani Morgan and all those fucking guys have done this year. They made the Animals a team that we were assuming was just going to end up being built back to where they were 2 years ago. But now they actually have a lot to build off of. It's not the Huffables. It's not Huff, Sayer, the Santisteban brothers, and Isaac Gomez. There's a lot of things to build off of. There's a lot of young talent to build off of. But the thing that cost them, that will continue to cost them, is depth at offensive line and in the secondary. Rob, you know better than I do. John Kessler's been playing in this league almost as long as you were in the league, if not longer. And there's a lot of guys on that team that have been there on the offensive and defensive lines that have grown up in this league, that have made the Animals because they played on other teams and the Animals ended up being there.
Right.
They need to reload that side of the ball as much as possible, the same way they did with the offense.
On the defensive side, facts. That's a fact.
And just building off of that consistency and being there every week. Like, the thing that cost the BIC was, in a very important game, all of their players weren't there. If Tender and Rios were there for that BIC game early in the regular season, holy shit, what would happen?
Right.
Like, we could be having a completely different conversation, but that didn't happen. We posit a lot of hypotheticals in this league because they're fun and they make content. I say that as the guy who generates 45% of the fucking content for this league.
Only 45?
On a good day.
What about the latest one?
What was that?
What about the latest one Trey put out in the chat earlier?
I don't know what.
Which
he said about the night crawlers.
What did he say?
He said something about them possibly being able to come back or something.
Oh, I don't talk about hypotheticals. I don't talk about things until they actually happen because I'm not some fakakta conspiracy theorist. I have a job to do. My job is to talk about what's going on and what I know. I can't talk about what I know, what I don't know, because it'd be irresponsible for me as the voice of this league to talk about shit that I don't know about. That does the league a disservice, that does me a disservice, and that does the audience a disservice. It's disrespectful for me to do that with what I am in this league, at least where I think I am. Because it's not my fucking job. I'm not a rumor monger. I'm not a fucking propagandist. I'm not a goddamn tabloid journalist. I yell.
You're not a hack.
I wouldn't say that, Rob. You could say that. I won't.
Nah.
You could say
that.
You're
not a hack. You're not a weirdo that's not really in this league talking about shit they don't know and never, you know.
We talk about giving water. We talk about Corey giving sunlight and water to shit.
Oh no,
sunlight and water to. So let's not.
Oh no, I'm just throwing shit in the air. I don't know who. You can't catch the shit if it's not for you.
Somewhere out there's gonna think you're saying something about someone else when you're not. I want them to not feel like they're getting hugged right now because they don't deserve affection and attention. The amount of people in this league that feel like their opinion is at the level of some of the other people in this league is fucking laughable.
It's crazy.
Ryan,
it is kind of crazy.
Frustrating.
Ryan, just to answer your question, we'll get you on the show next week, buddy. So either get with Derek or myself or whoever, and we will give you the link for next week's show. So definitely next Wednesday, we'll have you come on for sure. Go ahead, Matt. Continue.
That's it. That's all I got.
Okay. Well, so we get the BIC and the U once again. Rob, give us thoughts. Initially, what are your thoughts on part 2 of 2024 between BIC and the U? Of course, the big question is, will Huff play? Is he going to be effective of whatever he plays? Just your initial thoughts on this second game between the BIC and the U.
Huge question if Huff's going to be there or not, or if he's going to be 100% to play. BIC knows Huff might be hurt. They will be playing on that, not to re-hurt him, but to force him in positions where he has to use whatever hurt limit is to get himself out of situations. So you would look at BIC's defense and notice that they might blitz some more. They might take riskier delayed blitzes and bring guys from the corner spot to blitz and rotate a hybrid linebacker in to cover the zone that the corner just left, just to get Huff a little flustered. If and when Huff isn't able to play anymore, the U is a team that can adjust. They will go to a big-bodied offense, and they have the big bodies for the offense. They'll run BIC down. That is known to work against BIC. I know they're going to try to shut down Ashanti to a degree. I don't think they have an answer for Kason Campbell, but that's my opinion. That doesn't mean it's a fact. I see BIC in a tough one, winning by a couple of championship points or a clear touchdown. It's not a blowout. It's going to be a competitive game up until probably the last 2 minutes of the fourth quarter. Like, the U's not going to lay down whether Huff is healthy or not. Like I said, Huff, they beat the BIC without Huff last year. Without Huff. Last year, they beat him twice. So it's not like it's impossible. It's not foreign. Again, based off the history between these two teams, whoever wins the first one wins the second one. So naturally, for me, being an analyst now, if I'm basing it off of history, I got BIC winning by a couple of championship points or a touchdown, honestly.
Matt, do you concur?
Fuck, is this game hard to pick?
It is.
Because we saw the BIC offense walk onto the field with a 14-point deficit before they could even snap the ball. So it comes down to whatever Kenny Stansbury and that offense decides to do when the coins flip. If you win the the pace of this game is going to be dictated by who starts the quarterback for the Patterson U. If it's Moon, they're going to try to grind it down and work all the way through this game with McKinney, with Mayweather, with Snags, with Nick Mays. But the problem is Nick and Snags are going to be playing on the defensive side of the ball sometimes too. And you're rotating guys at the offensive and defensive line. Like, there's positives and negatives on both sides of it. So for me, I'm along with Rob. I think it's going to come down again to 1 to 2 points. It's going to come down to championship points. And we've seen the BIC take those more seriously, especially in these playoffs. But for me, it's going to be the closest game this year, especially between these two teams, because when the BIC played the U earlier this year, the BIC did have a little bit more of a cushion in the victory, if I'm remembering correctly.
It was a 15-point win, 35-20.
Yeah, so I think it's going to be a lot closer than that. I think we're going to see both teams with similar numbers. I think we're going to see Daryl Verges and Courage Mosey make a bigger impact. I think the thing is, I don't know what the BIC offense is going to be for that game. Rob would know better than me. He understands Kenny's brain a million times better than I do. But knowing what he has at his disposal and Sterry being a part of that, how is Sterry Codrington going to orchestrate this offense? Because he didn't run too much against the Animals.
He did not. You're correct.
But he may have to against the U, because they're going to send Nick and Snags at him. They're going to try to send Mo Ramadan and Ahmad Ramadan at him consistently, voraciously. Isaac Gomez is trying to win really hard, campaigning for DPOY with the amount of sacks he's had this season. And he's had success against the BIC offensive line before.
Isaac Negron, you mean?
Yeah, Isaac Negron. I'm sorry. I'm very tired. I have not gotten a lot of sleep the last couple of days. So
don't worry, I don't know that many Isaacs either.
Yeah, Isaac Negron is
I don't
going to
know
get
that man.
Isaac Negron is going to look to show out. But for me, the question comes down to how do any of these teams adjust for who they've got to play on the 21st? Whichever team walks out of this with whatever we have now is the right. Marcel, I'm very tired, and you know we've had conversation. I said the wrong name. My bad. I spoke a lot of weed. My bad. But when it comes down to it, it's based on how are they going to react to having home field advantage against the West Coast team, and what are they going to game plan against?
That's gonna be big. I'm not gonna hold you.
That's how. What's the vibe going to be walking into that game?
That's gonna be big, bro.
I know.
It doesn't.
I'm also during the game forgetting shit because I'm looking at the paper and shit gets wrong. I'm not.
Yeah, whoever makes it out of that game, I'm gonna be honest. Either side, they're gonna have a hard time with home field advantage. Bringing those Vegas guys all the way to the East Coast to play a championship in a hostile crowd, like I'm pretty sure the stands are gonna be smacked. And it's hostile. It's gonna be a little hostile. It's not saying that the Vegas guys won't show up, but you know, the layover, the time change. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully those guys get there Friday night, Saturday morning to kind of get accustomed. You know what I'm saying? Like it took me like 2 nights to get accustomed when I got over there. So hopefully they do the same thing because it will be different.
Is different. The humidity is different. And Marcel said it best, game in hell. And Ryan, please send me those screenshotted rosters you were supposed to send me on Sunday. I forgot to, I will remind you privately, but please do that. Jet lag is a bitch, Zach, you're right. Jet lag is a bitch. Cross country, trying to do that and then having to be ready for a game like that. I know a lot of these guys do that with flag tournaments. It's kind of part and parcel with the job. But when you're going up against a fully stacked U or BIC team, where
that shit's not fun.
Throw a litany of looks at you, that's going to be the problem. Like Knox, you've played with Sick With It, you've played against the Insomniacs, you've played with and against all these guys. What are they like on the road? What do they feel like when they travel? What are Marcel said the real battle is going to be in the trenches. What are these linemen going to feel like after flying across country in what won't be a private shuttle? It's going to be a regular ass fucking airplane. So
it's not Spirit.
What's the mentality for going on the road like that? When the Insomniacs went to Ohio, what was the vibe?
You got guys that my bad. I had to unmute because I'll be over here like laughing and doing other stuff, so I had to unmute. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we're good.
You can hear me. Go ahead.
Okay. No, it's just I mean, shit. It's you got a group of guys that whether, like you said, they play against each other all the time. So when traveling and doing all the flag tournaments and stuff like that, you get a chance to play against guys that you don't normally play against. You play against people that you won't ever see again. You play in hostile environments. You know what I'm saying? You again, to be a host and to be hosted is definitely different. It's two different things.
That's a fact.
It's two different things.
And Mark Ray makes an excellent point. A lot of and I said it before, these guys travel a lot, but where they are in their lives now, this is a different thing. It's not much of a reflex as it has been, unless these guys are playing flag and traveling every weekend. I know traveling can take a lot out of a person, and then having to perform in what could be 60 to 70% humidity, maybe 80% humidity on a hot summer day on the Jersey Shore.
Okay, hold on, Matt. Marcel, what is Vegas ducking?
What's your hottest weather out there?
It don't compare to Arizona.
It don't compare to Arizona, but it gets harder to breathe. That's humidity.
Honestly, but what's the hottest, like heat wise? What's the hottest?
Get 110, 115.
Okay,
but again, it's not like Arizona.
What was it on Sunday?
97. a 97, but on the field, I think it was 110. In the booth,
But-
it felt like 120.
But when the clouds
about-
came, it changed that.
Yeah.
The clouds changed that.
What was the humidity? What was the humidity on the field?
Oof. I don't remember, but I remember it was sticky. It did not. It felt like you were wearing a sweatsuit.
Yeah, it's
I
not like
I
that.
was saying all that to say it's like we used to that. You know what I'm saying? It's dry desert, it's dry, but we're not surrounded by no water at all. Summers are averaging between 115 and damn near 120. You know what I'm saying? They're out there playing and doing all that. So as far as the heat wise and the weather, I don't really think that would be a factor. I would say honestly, it would just be the atmosphere of being hosted. Like you said, they would have to adjust and adapt to where they're at.
Okay, well, the schedule is what the schedule is. They have no say in that. All they can do is just play their schedule. Now, if that's your opinion, that's your opinion. But either way, they'll be making the cross-country trip to Asbury Park to play either the U or BIC. That's what we do know.
Yeah, that's all I care about. I'm done crying about crossover games. It's not happening.
Hey,
That shit is depressing.
Also,
Harmon, go easy on my guy.
It doesn't matter if it's not this year. Let's figure out how we can do it for next year. Let's not stop talking for 6 months and then actually have conversations after the 22nd and make things happen. Like, I'm willing to do that, and I have no fucking power over anything. Like, what can we do to make this happen where everybody can be on the same page instead of just yelling in the comment section?
That part.
No, but that's like all sides. Like we're facilitating that. Like we're letting it happen. We're fueling that hate pump right now by continuing to talk about it. Like that's what is the very frustrating about it, is that we keep giving conversation to hypotheticals that, if they happen now, would create even larger fucking short-term problems that we have to create. We have to solve. Like you're trying to solve one big problem and then create 55 little problems within that. Like, and yeah, I don't think it should have been changed at any point. Like, I think we should stick with the season and then, okay, what did we not like, and then fix it for the next year. That's how process works. That's how being patient and growing a business works. We shouldn't go to our basic emotions because we're arguing about it on the internet. That makes no logical sense to me, but that's not my call.
I mean, it was put out there that even if the crossplay couldn't happen, it was a potential way that a tournament style crossplay could happen.
I'll just cut through all that and let y'all know that no one's ducking. I'm just gonna be clear without giving too much. No one is ducking. I can say that honestly. What it is the offer that was on the table for crossplay wasn't an offer that any captain that's left appreciated or thought was a good idea. So all the captains unanimously said, nah, we're good. Except one. I think one was like, okay, we'll do it. But it's a voting process. If 3 captains say no and one says yes, then it's a no. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is. We'll just hopefully we figure something out in the off season to facilitate it much better next year.
All right. Well, real quickly before we put a bone wrap on this, Matt, real quickly, your initial thoughts on part 2 between Sick and the Insomniacs.
If the Insomniacs don't show up in full force and take this game seriously and set the tone from the jump, they're going to put themselves in the same exact situation that cost them the game against Sick in the regular season. I don't think they're going to do that because I think it was the wake-up call they needed. But Sick being confident is what can drive them.
All right. Well, very, very useful information. As always, our appreciation to Rob and Matt for coming on and giving us some insights of what happened back east in the games between the Animals and BIC, of course, the U and the Nightcrawlers. Of course, they will be on the call for BIC and the U as the U and the BIC once again play in a championship matchup to see who will represent the East in the championship game. Big Rob, as always, we appreciate you, and the door is always open, guy. Appreciate you, my man.
Thank you, guys.
All right. That was Big Rob Fabian and Matt Ryan coming in and dropping off some knowledge and dropping off their feelings. Final thoughts, 2-5, before we put a bow and wrap on this one.
No, I think it was a great week of football. Playoffs in the Final Four is definitely going to be something to watch out there and out here. And yeah, can't wait to see how it all turns out.
All right. Well, so next week, folks, we will have Ryan Shamar coming on as a guest on the show. Hopefully. What's up, Big Mike? How are you? Thanks for chiming in. Hopefully, we will be at our new digs next week as we do have a new place to call home to air the other side of the ball, and hopefully episode 92 will give you that. But it is coming. It is coming. It is coming. Special thanks again to Matt and Rob for coming on the show and spending some time with us and giving us their thoughts on the U, BIC, the Animals, and Sick and the Insomniacs. Once again, Final Four, we have U and BIC in the East. Out here in the West, it is the Insomniacs and Sick with It one more time. And the winner of those two games will meet each other in Asbury Park, New Jersey to conclude the 10th anniversary season and to crown a champion in the American Sevens Football League. Special thanks to Chris for chiming in, even though the Islands would not let him stay on for long, but he did chime in the comments. We appreciate that. Also appreciate Derek Duncan for chiming in and channeling us for a little bit. And, of course, to all of you, our viewers, for chiming in the comments and showing us your passion. That is why you are fans of this game and of this league. For Live with 2-5, I'm Double A saying thank you for watching, and we will see you next week, hopefully from our new digs. But if not, you'll see us right here on the Other Side of the Ball YouTube channel, and we'll see you on the other side of the ball. With that, we say good night, and we'll see you next week.